got to probably get started. Um, as the little notation just said, this meeting is being recorded. So if you pick your nose, everybody's going to see it on YouTube because we do move these shows over to YouTube. So, just remember you're being recorded and everything you say can and might never be used against you. But welcome to the Independence Amplified Maryland I Am broadcast for March 29th, 2021. We've been at this in one form or another for almost a year now and are pleased to do it. My name is Mike Bullis. I'm the executive director of the Image Center of Maryland. We're the Center for Independent Living that operates in Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Harford County. We have other SIL directors here as well. And there is a SIL, a Center for Independent Living, that serves your area. So if you don't know and don't have connections with your SIL, you should have, because they're cool people. Is pleased to bring you this program of information and importance to people with disabilities and service providers. And we have a lot of them. And thank you all for attending. I really appreciate the fact that the service providers have taken so much interest in this program. Um, I think I said earlier, this program will be on YouTube in a few days. You're going to be muted. If Heather hasn't already done it, she will do so soon. If you want to, you have two options for getting your questions answered. One, you could use the ever popular chat box. Or you could raise your hand, or you could, if you heard if you heard a pause in the conversation or something and you could sneak in quickly enough, you could ask your question directly. There will be community announcements at the end. So if you're with an organization that provides services anywhere in Maryland or has an event coming up and you want to announceify it, please feel free to do so. At the end of the broadcast, we'll give you some time. I will make this announcement now. That way I don't have to remember to make it later. We fund these broadcasts with your donations, and we're so grateful to those of you who are able to donate. Sometimes it's only $3, $5, $10, $20, whatever you can afford is valuable to us and valuable to the community because it helps us fund these broadcasts. So thank you so much for all of that. We're going to explore today the subject of hearing impairments and limited hearing resources for folks. It's some people are born with hearing limitations. Other people have them occur during life, sometimes in younger life, and very often as people age, they find hearing difficult. I myself am in my late 60s, and I note some hearing loss to myself. In fact, I'm getting ready to go see a specialist to have them explore it.
Yes.
Why? Because for me in particular, I'm blind, and so when you start messing with my hearing, you're messing with my eyes, right? Because I use my hearing to go everywhere and do everything that I do. So protecting my hearing is important to me. I'm going to introduce to you, first of all, today, Diamond Hill. Diamond is from the Hearing Health Navigator, is a hearing health navigator for the Hearing Health Collaborative program. She will introduce Kevin Steffi, who is going to be the director of the Maryland Accessible Telecommunications program. And then Kevin will introduce Jane Hager, who has worked for us off and on for many years, providing community services related to hearing impairment. And she's just one of those brilliant people who knows a lot about a lot of things. And I really appreciate her so much. So let me begin by saying, Diamond Hill, please welcome. Let's unmute yourself and begin today's broadcast. Thank you all.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Diamond Hill. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. So I'm just going to share my screen and I will start my presentation, if that's okay with everyone. Okay. So before I begin, I just want to confirm that everybody can see my screen and can hear me okay? Okay. All right. So yes, okay, like I said before, I'm Diamond Hill and I'm the Hearing Health Navigator for the Hearing Health Collaborative program in Baltimore City. And as the Hearing Health Navigator, it is my job to help people with hearing loss address their specific needs and goals in regard to their hearing health. So today I'm just going to talk a little about how the aging process impacts our hearing, the general impact that age-related hearing loss has on our health and overall quality of life, and introduce the Hearing Health Collaborative, a program created to help connect people with age-related hearing loss to the services that they need. Okay, so before we begin, just so you guys understand hearing loss, it's really important to understand how we hear in the first place, right? So hearing is really a process of encoding and decoding sound information. So when sound enters the ear, our ears convert these sounds into an electrical signal. This electrical signal is then transmitted to the brain, where our brains then convert this signal into meaning, okay? So for people with normal hearing, this is a constant and effortless process. However, as we get older, genetic factors, noise exposure, and the natural aging process can actually disrupt the process by which we hear and change the way that sounds are encoded into our brains. This can lead to age-related hearing loss. Age-related hearing loss is the permanent gradual decline of hearing ability that most people experience as they grow older. So the onset of age-related hearing loss is typically very gradual and subtle, so much so that people don't often realize that they are experiencing signs of hearing loss. So I just wanted to go over a couple of telltale signs, okay? So one of the first ones is asking others to repeat themselves a lot. So a lot of times when speaking to others, people with hearing loss will often ask, can you repeat that? Or they'll be like, huh? This is because there is an issue with the way that the sound signals are getting transmitted to their brain. So they're not hearing quite as clearly as before. Another common sign would be difficulty understanding conversations against background noise, okay? So people with hearing loss, especially age-related hearing loss, tend to have a lot of difficulty understanding words and conversations in places with a lot of background noise. So I know probably people haven't really been out and about due to the pandemic, but if you can remember a time where you've sat in maybe like a noisy restaurant, or you've gone to like an outdoor event where there's a lot of people and there's a lot of noise, it can be really hard for somebody with age-related hearing loss to process sound, especially when having a conversation, and differentiate conversations with background noise and other people's voices and music and things of that nature. And so just another telltale sign is listening to the TV or radio at extremely loud volumes, right? So again, and of course, this is again because people are having trouble transmitting sounds to the brain, and a lot of times, a person with hearing loss, especially age-related hearing loss, they're not actually going to realize themselves that they're listening to the TV or radio so loud. So a lot of times, maybe, they're living with a family member or a friend, and they will actually comment on the loudness of the TV. Of course, and this is because it's so gradual and subtle that people won't necessarily realize, right, that they're listening to the music on the radio or the television louder today than they did maybe 10 years ago. So for many years, age-related hearing loss has been typically thought to be a benign part of the aging process. However, studies within the last decade have actually shown us that age-related hearing loss is associated with numerous social, physical, and mental health issues. There are various negative outcomes associated with age-related hearing loss, like increased hospitalization risk, for example, balance issues, depression, dementia, and loneliness. And these risk factors can lead to a reduced quality of life for people with hearing loss and their caregivers. And especially with depression and loneliness, that's typically because your ability to communicate has been impacted. So you might not be able to go out and socialize if you have age-related hearing loss with family or friends and communicate as efficiently as before. So communication and having relationships can be a little bit more effortful. So that kind of people tend to kind of stay to themselves a little bit and not feel comfortable going out in public or spending time with multiple large groups of people. And so this can really contribute to like feelings of isolation and loneliness. And that's something that we really want to try to address. So it's just really important to note that age-related hearing loss is extremely common, okay? So it affects most adults as they age. A 2016 study actually showed us that the rate and severity of hearing loss increases as we get older. So 13% of people in their 50s, for example, will experience some form of age-related hearing loss, whereas 55%, almost 55% of people in their 70s are estimated to have some degree of hearing loss. So as you can see, that's a big jump from 13% of people in their 50s to 55% of people in their 70s. So age and hearing loss is really tightly linked. So despite high rates of hearing loss, studies are showing us that hearing aid use is relatively low. According to some research from 2012, only about 14% of people who are 50 and older who have hearing loss have and regularly use their hearing aids. So this translates to about 23 million people in the US who are going without hearing care. So 23 million people is when you think about how many people that is not getting, not being able to communicate effectively, experiencing feelings of isolation and loneliness, and other negative outcomes of untreated age-related hearing loss, that's a big number. And so that's something we really want to address and shrink so that more people are getting access to care. Excuse me, are getting access to care. So when it comes to aging well, hearing care is truly essential, okay? So our well-being definitely depends on our ability to interact with the world around us and communicate with others. So this is why one of the most important things someone can do if they think that they have hearing loss is seeking advice from a healthcare provider. Research has shown us that hearing aid use is associated with significantly lower risk of being diagnosed with depression, dementia, anxiety, and is also associated with a reduced fall risk. So I kind of just want to emphasize that, without accessible and affordable hearing healthcare, aging well as an older adult with hearing loss can be challenging. So this is why we have actually created the Hearing Health Collaborative. It's comprised of Baltimore-based nonprofits, HASA, or the Hearing and Speech Agency, and Access Hears. And this program was created mainly to help older adults in Baltimore City get access to the affordable hearing care services that they need to age well. And this program, provides eligible Baltimore City residents with Medicaid covered hearing aids, low cost over-the-counter hearing devices, as well as free case management services. So you could get, for example, Medicaid covered hearing aids at HASA. HASA is actually one of 3 places in Maryland that offers Medicaid covered hearing aids. And if you don't have Medicaid, we also offer the low cost over-the-counter hearing devices, which you can get at Access Hears. So there's just a couple of things that you would need to do, just a couple of easy steps you would need to follow, if you're somebody who's interested in getting hearing healthcare services for either yourself or a loved one, or, if you have clients that you think might benefit from this service, if you think that they would benefit from getting, services through the Hearing Health Collaborative, there's only a couple of steps you need to follow. So one of the things that we need to do is contact us. So that means contacting me. And then, when you contact me, we will have like an initial consultation. So I will kind of talk to you or the person that is seeking care, talk to them a little about their hearing situation. I will actually take a hearing health inventory to learn a little bit more about, what they're going through, what they're experiencing. And that kind of helps me decide which organization is best for them. Of course, if you have Medicaid, HASA would probably be the best organization for you. But if you don't, Access Hears is there, as well as we have other resources we can send people to. And so then we would also schedule an appointment. So with HASA, I would reach out to my contacts at HASA to schedule an appointment for the person seeking services. And they would reach out to them directly to kind of get the best time and date for them. And the same goes for Access Hears as well. So with Access Hears, again, I would provide that person's name and contact information to Access Hears, and a representative from that organization would reach out to the person seeking services, and they would kind of find a time to do a virtual consultation to figure out, when the best time is for them to kind of get services. And then after scheduling your appointment or your consultation, depending on what device you're getting, and if you're eligible for services, you can receive your hearing aid or device. So it's really pretty simple, and all you have to do is contact me. Again, my name is Diamond Hill. I'm the Hearing Health Navigator. You can contact me at my email address, dhill@hasa.org, or at this phone number at the bottom. And I will actually send my contact information through the chat with our flyer, and that kind of details, our services that we offer, as well as my contact information. So before I end, I just really want to thank everybody for joining us today on this webinar. And if anybody has any questions, this would be a great time to ask.
There's 2 questions in the chat, Diamond.
Okay, let me see. I will.
I'm not sure if Mike's gonna pull those for you or.
I can pull them up. Let me see.
And I can do that too if you'd like.
Oh, okay. So I see. Okay, so I see the first. I have the first question.
Okay.
Is this service for older adults? Only for older adults or for younger individuals? So the services for the Hearing Health Collaborative is primarily for older adults, which means about 50, 55 plus. However, if you are interested in getting services, both HASA and Access Hears are definitely willing to provide you services. So we're not going to turn you away just because you're younger. So again, feel free to contact me. As well, the program is primarily for older adults in Baltimore. However, we are definitely willing to provide services. I know with Access Hears, especially because Access Hears right now is going through a virtual model, so there's actually no physical building you need to go to. You would have a consultation with Josiah, who is the Chief Operating Officer at Access Hears, and he would schedule a time to talk with whoever is seeking services. And if you decide to proceed, you would be able to get a device shipped out to you. HASA is more traditional, so you'd have to go in for a hearing exam, and you would have to go to our office in Baltimore City. But it is open to everyone, even though it's the program is primarily for older adults. Let me see if I can find it.
Additionally, they ask if our service is available statewide.
So I think with HASA, it's more centered in Baltimore just because our offices are here. But with Access Hears, I don't think there's really a limit on where people can get services. I think as long as you are in Maryland, I think you should be able to get services from Access Hears.
Diamond, I think for HASA also serves folks statewide as long as they're able to go in person. Is that correct?
Yeah. So they can serve people statewide if you're willing to travel. I mean, of course, it depends on where you live. But if you are willing to travel to our office in Baltimore, you definitely can get services from HASA. That is correct. Yes.
So my experience with hearing aids is that most insurance provides you like $500 or $1,000, and my experience with good hearing aids is that they cost from $4,000 to $6,000. That seems really problematic for people who don't have an extra $3,000 or $4,000 laying around so that they can spend them, and so they end up getting cheap hearing aids, and then the hearing aids don't work very well, and they end up leaving them on the dresser at home, which of course means they're not doing any good. I'm not sure whether that's a question or just a comment.
I mean, you're definitely correct. Yes. So the average cost of hearing aids is about $4,700. And that is something we're looking to address right now. So unfortunately, with the way that hearing care is set up now, you're correct. A lot of healthcare insurances don't necessarily cover hearing aids, or at least not the full cost. So a lot of times people need to come out of pocket for hearing aids if they want to go the traditional hearing aid route, where they go to an audiologist and do that. However, that's why Access Hears is actually part of the collaborative program, to kind of meet that need for people who don't necessarily have health insurance coverage. So Access Hears provides low-cost hearing devices, and they're over the counter, and they've been tested within 1% of top grade hearing aids. So really, of course, you can go the traditional hearing aid route, though we're really trying to kind of work behind the scenes to make it so that that's not a requirement for people, because that is a barrier that prevents people from getting hearing care services.
Yeah, so one other question, and I ask it only because the information came to me from a source that I wasn't sure how reliable it was. But one of the things I've noticed people say to me who are trying with new hearing aids, and I say, well, why don't you wear them? And they say, oh, it's just so loud. Everything was so loud and annoying, etc. And then a person said to me the other day, who has used hearing aids for years, he said, it takes 45 to 60 days for your brain to begin eliminating all the sounds that you really don't want to hear. You've been doing it all your life with your ears. There's all kinds of background noise that you just discriminate out of your hearing, but it takes time with hearing aids, and most people just never give them that time. And so they continue to feel like the hearing aids aren't working, when it's actually their brain that just needs some retraining. Is that accurate?
So I've never had hearing aids, though that is true that they take some time to acclimate to, right? So hearing aids are not the same as glasses. You're not going to get a pair of hearing aids and put them on and your hearing is automatically restored. Of course, hearing aids' primary job is to amplify sounds and make it easier for people to hear what's going on around them, though it is going to take some time to get acclimated to. And that's definitely something you could talk with an audiologist about a little bit more in depth, if you're somebody who has hearing aids, just because, there are things that they can do to kind of specialize the hearing aids, for your specific needs, for example, so that you're hearing the frequencies that, you need to hear based on your audiogram. And a lot of them are customizable, but they do take some time to acclimate to.
Lori, if you want to unmute yourself, Lori Elenoff has a question.
Just as an FYI, I'm a fairly new hearing aid user, and I discovered that if I purchased an iPhone, which is also expensive, but you can control the volume on the hearing aids with the Apple iPhone, which is a great feature for me. I don't find it too noisy at all. I find you need to amplify things. So that's just an FYI, that's all.
Yeah, no, that's actually great information. Yeah, especially because with an iPhone, you can a lot of modern hearing aids today can link with your iPhone through Bluetooth, and you can control it that way.
But also, right now, I believe it's only the Apple that does that. So people should keep that in mind too. The Apple.
Diamond, this is Pauletta Shepherd with the Freedom Center. The Android also has an app that adapts to your phone. I have an Android and I have to wear hearing aids now, although with wearing the mask so much now, I have not been wearing them. And I've noticed some changes in my hearing. And going back to what Mike was saying about the differences in the sounds, noticing things, that is absolutely true. And it's annoying in the very beginning, but it gets to where you don't notice it at all. When I first got mine, I came home and I heard all this ticking, 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 and it was the clock on the wall that had been there for years. I could hear my hands scraping across the wheel of the car when I was driving it. Squeaks in the floor, all of it goes away, after a while.
Thanks very much.
And if I could say something else, Diamond, about your program there, I think you mentioned people can call in and you go through a list of questions And
Mhm.
based on a list of questions, the questionnaire, you determine whether or not that person has a hearing defect. And then based on that, you only give them a device, but not actual hearing aids. Is
So
that true?
with the hearing health inventory that we do, so yes, when you contact us and contact me specifically, I will conduct a hearing health inventory with a client. That's just so that we can see where they're kind of at with their hearing, with where their hearing is at, basically. So there's like a couple of questions I have to ask in regard to like the health of your ears. So, like I'll ask like a couple of questions, like, has it been a sudden change, or is it something that's been gradual? Have you noticed any pain or fluid coming from your ears, that kind of thing? That's just so that we know, like, there's not any like major medical conditions that could potentially bar you from getting hearing aids, that you might need to see a doctor first or a specialist first. So we do ask that. We do have a couple of questions about like your hearing health care, but that doesn't decide what device you get or anything like that. That's just so we know kind of where you're at as far as health wise. And then other questions might be like, one question we have is like, do you have Medicaid, for example? That's just so I can know if the person who's seeking services would qualify potentially for, for HASA's program, where they offer you Medicaid covered hearing aids. Other questions might, include like can you travel? Just so we can get a sense of like, what your situation is as a client, so we can best kind of work out which organization you would go to, because you don't have to go to both organizations to get services. Really, we try to work out the one best organization, either Access Hears or HASA. So that's really what the questionnaire is for.
Okay, now for people in Frederick and Carroll County, they can call the Freedom Center and ask for me, Pauletta Shepherd. We provide financial assistance for people, and we cover the whole cost if someone is financially eligible for it. We get discounted price through Miracle Ear, both in Frederick and in Westminster. And I have another company we work with, Live Better Hearing, in Frederick, that provides the hearing aids at a discounted rate to Frederick, to our office, that makes it more practical, and we can serve more people based on those discounts. So for Carroll and Frederick County, Carroll and Frederick, they can call the Freedom Center, people who may need the hearing aids, and we can go from there with that.
No,
Okay,
that's great. That's great.
Simon, we have another, a question in the chat was asking about, you mentioned device, and she's asked, is this just one device, a hearing aid, or multiple devices?
So with HASA, I can speak more so for HASA. Most people, I think, tend to get two hearing aids. But that, of course, that depends on what you decide with the audiologist. For Access Hears, Josiah, if you can hear me, is it two devices, or is it just the single device for one ear?
Yeah, that's a great question, Diamond. Most clients at Access Hears only use one device. Normally, it's just more convenient to only have to worry about one device. And with one device, you can already see pretty major improvements in your hearing, but some of our clients do use two devices. So it's really up to each client that works with us.
Thank you. So I hope that answers the question. I'm not sure.
Diamond, we have covered a lot of questions, and we interrupted your presentation pretty dramatically. Do you have other things you want to present, or do you want to go on to Kevin?
No, that was the end of my presentation. So if everybody's done with questions, then we can definitely move on to Kevin's presentation.
All right. Is Kevin here?
Yes, Kevin is here.
Yes.
All right, Kevin Steffi, Director of the Maryland Assistive Telecommunications Project Program. Kevin is a fine person, a pleasure to work with as a professional, someone who has worked with us for the last 2 or 3 years.
Thanks.
Say again?
Kevin says, thanks, thumbs up. Yeah.
Yeah, pleasure. All right, then. It's up to you, Kevin. Take it away.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that nice introduction. Uh, we want to say thank you also for the other presenters. Such a great job on the hearing aids. Now, I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint. Give me a second here. I can't. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Hello, everyone. I am Kevin Steffi, and I would like to correct one little thing. I'm not really the manager of the Maryland Access for the MAT program, you know, the telecommunications. I don't know if you've seen here in the group here, there are about 4 or 5 different evaluators with the MAT program. So there's several of us on the team. Who is really, you know, what is the MAP program and who oversees it? The Maryland Accessibility of Telecommunications, that is MAP. And it is run, the MAP program is run as a state agency with local people involved within the state of Maryland Association of Disabilities, the Department of Disabilities, and the Department of Information Accessibility, I think is what we call it. And recently, it was moved to that division because I think that division fits us better. Because Matt is providing a variety of services for people with a variety of disabilities. It's not just deafness, for example. A lot of different disabilities that Matt is involved with. Also, we also observe and oversight other programs. The interpreter needs to make a quick adjustment. Hold on 1 minute for me. I'm going to try. Hold on a second. Sorry. Yes. If I need to correct, if I need to go back and see somebody's name, something like that, I realize you can't see me. So if I want to jump in to fix somebody's name, or if I miss the spelling of something, I want to be able to pinch it. Sorry. Wrong thing about this. We'll go. Hold on 1 second. I just got to get the right person in the view. Okay, that's good. Thank you, everyone, for your patience with the interpreter. Yes. Me? Can't see me? Better?
Better now.
Better? Okay. Yeah. All right. So the communication for this accessibility, you know, when we have these programs with Matt and the Office of Department of Disabilities and other programs also called Maryland Disability, we're wondering why that fits in here. Well, when we call 711, for example, you know, 711, that's Maryland Relay. Maryland Relay is connected with the Department of Disabilities too. And when we dial 711, for people with speech disabilities, they have, you know, speech to text services, and they can communicate with other people on the phone in a traditional relay sense. Now, Matt, the program, also provides communication devices It's sort of a separate category as we provide devices. Let's go to the next slide, please. So maybe you're wondering about who can get benefits from this program. There's a list here on this slide of the different groups of people who are deaf, even if their deafness is later in life, people who we label as hard of hearing, people who are low vision, their eyesight is going gradually over the years, or they've had low vision or blindness, people who are deaf and blind, people who have difficulty speaking. Suppose there's limited mobility, that group can be involved as well in getting resources from us. And cognitive difficulties, not able to dial all of the numbers or remember them. A variety of lists here of all the different disabilities that we support. You know, and it can be mild to severe. And, you know, a person with one disability, but maybe they have multiple disabilities. They can all benefit from this program of MAT and the resources we have. Telecommunications, what is the equipment available that we can distribute to our consumers? Well, here's a list for those of you who don't know. We have amplified phones. That's very popular. That's the most popular thing that we can provide. That helps the people who are hard of hearing. The next one is hands-free phones. That just means that you don't have to pick up the receiver to be able to talk to somebody. You can use a flashing light, you know, to alert you. You can talk directly and the speakerphone comes on, the phone will answer, you know, those options on the hands-free phone. Then of course there's the TTY. Most of you are familiar with having seen the TTY. We type on the TTY to another TTY user, or you can type to a hearing person not having a TTY through the Maryland relay. And there's somebody who types in the middle. Large button telephones. Those are big buttons, and those are for people who have low vision or their vision is getting worse over the years. And there are big buttons for that, easier to be seen. There are also picture phones. The picture phone, that has pictures of your family members or your friends that you call often. You're able to recognize the picture and push that button rather than trying to remember a phone number. If they have cognitive difficulties, it's very impossible for people to remember how to spell their name or how to remember their phone number. So instead, we have speed dial with pictures. So all you have to do is push a button of the picture of the person you want to call. Caption telephones. Caption telephones, maybe you've seen captions on TV, right? All of you have seen those. It's the same idea that we borrow and apply to the telephone. They're captions of what other people say to you are captioned back. The things you say are not captioned because you don't need them to be, but what everybody else says to you are captioned. So you could be hearing disabled such that you lose your hearing and you become totally deaf, but you're still able to speak because you always were a speaking hearing individual. So if you're on the phone, you might miss a word or you might miss a whole sentence, but you can just glance down and see the captions and fill in the blanks. Mobile devices. That's just a device that you can carry with you, you know, just like our mobile phones. Maybe in the future, we'll have the smartphones that you can carry in the same technology that we're offering. But for right now, people that have mobility limitations, if the phone is ringing, they can't run to the other room and answer it fast enough. So they carry a portable phone with them, and then they can answer the phone that way. It's a really nice thing to have. Then we have emergency dialers. Emergency dialer system. This is used when a person might fall. If a person has a problem or they have frequent falls, it's like the alert button, that you have on your neck to call emergency services. Well, this is the same thing. The emergency dialer can call family members. They can call for medical assistance. Many more options are there that we have opportunities to provide. The next slide. Here's a picture of the captioned phone. Now, this is one of the few captioned phones that people can really read easily. There are a few different models, but this is one. And this is for people, you see, he's got the handset up to his ear. He can hear a little bit and he can speak, and he just looks at the script. Now, this is not an amplified phone. It's only the caption. And so the individual with more deafness has to focus more on the caption screen. So it has to be big enough, and they have to focus on the written word. They want to be able to hear, they want to be able to use their own voice, but they have to listen. And as they listen, they read the text that's coming through to make sure that it's clear. Later, if they hear the communication and then later the text shows up a little bit delayed, that gets very confusing. So we encourage them just to focus on the text and not to focus on trying to hear at that point as their deafness gets worse. Now, this Google Pixel 4 cell phone. Wow, it's great. It's a great tool. You can use that as a mobile device any place. You can take it anywhere you want. You can have a caption phone. The caption phone, hey, when you have a caption phone, it's stuck. It's there on the table. It's hardwired to your house line. But the Google Pixel 4, now that's a signal you get from the cell phone towers. So you can go anywhere with it. And many of the apps, have opportunities to work through that Pixel system. And they have translator apps. They have captioning apps. They have just a variety of different services that you can use on those captioned apps on the Google Pixel 4. And the sentence is right there. It's what other people say to you, even when you walk up to them. What you say to other people is just spoken. It doesn't have to be text. It doesn't have to be captioned. You don't have to wait for the captions to show up. They're right there because the Google Pixel 4 is typing like speech recognition. And so it's almost real time. And it's very accurate. When you compare it to the captioned phone, the Google Pixel 4 is very accurate. Let's see, what do I have on the next slide? The Pixel 4 is also very compatible with hearing aids. There's a T-coil switch on the hearing aid, and that signal from the T-coil switch to the Pixel 4 goes right in, so people can use the volume that way too, if they have some hearing ability with the hearing aids. Now, who qualifies for the program? The first thing is, to get any of this equipment, you have to live in Maryland. You must be over the age of 3 years old and above. And you must have limited income. If you have, any kind of subscription to Verizon, or you get disability services, SSI, anybody who's struggling, using the regular phone. Also, they have phone services, phone service providers, voice over IP and Wi-Fi and different things that have to be included in their house. You know, they can get those services at a reduced cost or for free. Next slide, please. Now, what is the documentation required to apply for MAP? Here's a list. Here's the application. It's shown in the PowerPoint on the right-hand side. Now, you have to have, you know, proof of who you are, copies of your phone bill, your SSI,
Utility bill.
SSA deposits, utility bills, your benefits that you get, you know, whatever benefits are coming from, your bank statement. That's very important to show that you have SSA deposits under whatever title, and they get monthly money from those organizations. The VA also, you can get VA benefits that and have a record of those. If you get PDAP, you know, temporary assistance, the temporary assistance program. Also the TANF. This is for temporary assistance for the needs of the family, for needy families. That's what the acronym means. But, you know, also the pharmacy, the medical, housing assistance, all that paperwork can be compiled together. If you have any unemployment money that you got, the tax returns are helpful as you're compiling the application. And we need, you know, the tax returns from last year and more frequent. And then you have a driver's license or photo ID, of course, and the two most recent pay stubs. That's the kind of paperwork you need to prove that you qualify for the program. Now, here is the application form. It's pretty small. It's just a few pages. It's called Disability Certificate Form. Disability Certificate Form. We say DCF. Now, you can't fill that part out. That part has to be filled out by a medical provider. A licensed medical provider has to fill that part of the form out. And they have to include their license number, their license to practice. And now, ultimately, who can sign it? You know, who can approve it? Social worker, the medical doctor, a nurse, a psychologist, again, the social worker, the VR counselor for vocational rehab, an audiologist, and a speech language pathologist. You know, any of those people who are professionals licensed in their field can sign off on the paperwork for approval. And then they send it directly to us. They can do that by the mail. They can do a fax. They can even send it an email. All of the contact information on the MAT application is right there. You know, how you contact us, where you send it. It's on the PowerPoint too. You know, on the form, different disabilities are listed there. The licensed provider can check which disability the person is diagnosed with. There could be only one disability, or there could be several. Could be several disabilities, more than one. And you can just check whatever is appropriate on that box. And, you know, when they check those boxes, it really helps us to do an evaluation to say, oh, well, this individual has this disability, they need that equipment. But then if there's a secondary disability, that helps us make a better informed decision about what devices they need. Now, contacting our office for the program application is right there. That's how you get it. You can get an application in paper, or you can type it completely on the fill-in form on the computer. Maryland Relay, the contact information is right there on the PowerPoint. and they will get all the paperwork and they'll collect it together at marylandrelay.org. You can do it that way. You can also send an email at the MAP program. We're happy to provide you with the paper applications as well. If you're working for an office or a company, that you have other benefit programs, just ask for a pile of applications. You don't have to have just one in your office. You can ask for as many as you want. We have a few disability, some churches have organizations with some disability councils also, and they can provide them. Anybody in the community can provide the applications. This group here that we meet, as you go around and lecture and talk to other people in the state, it would be, thank you. It would be a great thing for you to also bring with you. Yes. One of the
Tarita.
what? Thank you.
Tarita. It's
Tarita. Thank you. One of 3 outreach coordinators. Yeah, Tarita's one of 3 outreach coordinators who can help with these applications and get them distributed. So we get the application, we get all the documents reviewed and approved and processed. And then after we analyze everything and we look at the applicant, make sure they satisfied all the requirements and we approve it, then we inform them of the approval through email or through regular mail. And then we give the evaluation information there to the client, and the evaluators look at that and they schedule a screening to do a more in-person evaluation. We set up an appointment for that. We tend to have the evaluators, but in on-site, with face-to-face. But with COVID, it's a little bit more challenging. We do some things remotely. We do some telephone interviews. We do some virtual Zoom or Skype or whatever application. Whatever works. We're going to figure out how to make it work. And as a last resort right now because of COVID, we meet a person one-on-one, face-to-face, but they have to have the personal protective equipment as well when we meet people. After we analyze all of that, we figure out the right devices that the individual needs. We order the device, and then it will be shipped directly to the consumer's house, right to the home. Now, once the client gets the devices, they can request a retraining. How does that device work? How does the device work? How does it get installed? And so on. If you need help filling out an application, whatever the need is, feel free to contact us. We will be happy to help, whether it's filling out the application or the evaluation or whatever else is needed. All right. I wanted to let you know that it's been a pleasure to be here and to present.
Okay, thank you very much, Kevin. We very much appreciate it. The more of this kind of information we can get out to the public, the more we can use your services, the better the world will be. So thank you so much for taking the time to put this together with us. Jane Hager, are you on?
Yes, I agree. Thank you. It's been great to be able to provide the information.
I guess we should pause before we go to Jane and ask. I don't find any questions in the chat, but I think the text of the captioning is also there, and so I might have gotten lost in confusion. So, are there any questions for Kevin?
Yes,
Okay.
there's a couple of questions. Let me find it. someone has a closed caption phone they no longer want, how do they dispose of it?
Just to clarify, is this one that they got from the Maryland?
It doesn't
Program?
say.
No, I know it didn't say, and I saw that question, but that was my question, which is, is this a one that they got, or is this one that they themselves have purchased and they're just wanting to donate it or sell it, or what? Is the person still here? You can unmute yourself. Alt A.
Beth,
Well,
it was Beth. Beth,
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes.
can hear you. Thank you.
Yes, it was registered with the federal government. I
What
got
does-
I got it at the hearing loss convention. And they came out, put it in, and it was registered with the federal government. That's why I don't know what I need to
Yeah.
do with it.
I don't know. Kevin, you have any ideas?
yes. If you have any phone that has some captioning in there, you really should go back to the company where you bought it from or where it came from, if you can find that. Now, we will be happy to help you do that research and troubleshoot whether it's working or not, whether you need some new training, or to replace it if it's not working, if it's outdated or old. You want a new one. Let's do a new evaluation. Let's look at your disabilities and what your needs are, and let's figure out what we need to do. We'll help anywhere we can to improve and provide better quality equipment
I think Beth
for an
is saying,
individual's need.
I think Beth is saying that she got this program at a presentation and it came through some part of the federal government, but she's not sure which part of the federal government. So maybe you could help her sort of figure that part out, and then she might be able to find out what to do with it.
Thank you. And what is that phone number again to call you?
Well, we would not know what to do about the equipment from the federal government, that particular one. We wouldn't have anything to do with that necessarily.
Well, I'll call you and
Oops, you went away, Beth.
okay, I'm here.
There you are.
What is your phone number that I can call you? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's saying they may not be able to help you with that, Beth.
Right,
So,
but at least he
yeah.
can give me the phone number of the company. It's I don't want to say the name of it.
okay.
But it's a well-known phone, and I'm sure he can give me the number of the company that I can contact.
Okay, Kevin, what's your phone number?
Yes, the phone number is 800-552-7724.
Thank you.
Okay, and it's in the chat. All right, any other questions for Kevin before we get to Jane, if she's still here?
yes, there was one more question. Are there other apps that can be loaded onto Samsung phones or Apple phones that do live captioning or sound amplifying functions?
Well, so far, this is the only one that we were mentioning that is working well with the devices that we have. Now, I know that other companies are working on it. I know Apple's working on it and Samsung, but right now the Galaxy one is the only one that is approved and working well with all of the equipment and devices.
All right.
Thank you.
Now, yes, thank you very much, Kevin. We really appreciate it. And now to put the third pillar in this triangle together, we have Jane Hager, who is going to talk to you about the services that are available through the Maryland Technology Assistance Program for people with limited hearing. Jane, are you out there?
Yes, I am. Thank
All
you,
right.
Mike, for turning
Thank
it
you.
over to me.
All right.
Great to be here with everybody and wrap this up. Good information out there. One thing I did want to add before I get started with my PowerPoint is, as far as captioning on a mobile device, there are a few other options. Those are InnoCaption, which gives you a phone number that can work with your regular cell phone number. InnoCaptions does provide captioning. Caption Call is another caption phone provider that also offers a mobile option. And so does Hamilton CapTel. That can also be accessed from your mobile phone. All of that information is available on their website. And the Pixel 4 cell phone, we're so excited about adding that to our program. I've done some PowerPoints and presentations before about how excited I am about it, because to me, the Pixel 4 is kind of a toolbox for those of us with severe hearing losses. It has the live caption, which Kevin, as he said, that's unique to the Pixel 4. There isn't anybody out there right now other than them who's doing that automated speech recognition feature for the cell phone. The others are kind of a third-party operator type of captioning service provided on the cell phone. And then in addition to that, those other great features such as sound amplifier, Google Recorder, live transcribe, that are all included in the Pixel 4. So we're really excited to be having that in our program soon. But enough about that. I'm gonna wrap this up by providing a little bit of useful information about the Maryland TAP program, Technology Assistance, and I'm going to share my screen and bring up my presentation. I think I did that wrong. Let me try again on that. No. We're getting there. Okay, here we go. Now, wait a minute.
So you definitely have screen share on. It may be that you have to. point it.
Okay.
There you go.
So the Maryland Assistive Technology Program is such a great resource because it gives us more options that overlap with everything that we've just talked about through Access Hears and the Maryland Accessible Telecommunication Program. Maryland TAP has, they provide assistive technology through equipment demonstrations. They have an in-house loan program. They provide reuse to durable medical equipment through loan closets located across the state. And they do all kinds of training to get you more familiar with assistive technology. Maryland has 8 different libraries, and 4 of those libraries have offices. This allows you to get direct special AT advice from clinicians that are in those offices. You can borrow equipment and see how it works through their loan programs or their lending libraries, and keep the product and actually look at it and see how it works for you for up to 4 weeks. So for example, Access Hears provides sound amplification devices such as the Pocket Talker. Another one is Bellman SimPhone, Maxi Communicator. These are sound amplification devices that work without hearing aids. Now, the Maxi Pro by Bellman does also work with hearing aids, but through the AT loan program, you can actually, I'm sorry, the AT lending library, you can actually borrow the device and see how it works for you. So if you don't qualify for Access Hears, or you're just interested in trying this technology out before considering buying it, you can borrow it from an AT lending library and see how you like it. In addition to that, Maryland TAP can help you locate resources. They have some limited grant money, but they also have an in-house lending program. So this is a financial loan program that you can borrow anywhere from $500 to $50,000 to make all kinds of assistive technology purchases, including purchasing hearing aids. It's a great program. It's a little more flexible than your commercial lending program. And the application process is simple and straightforward. It's just a great resource to know about. Basically, you can buy anything that's going to keep you independent and functioning and give you better quality of life. And that definitely includes hearing aids. As Mike was saying earlier, it's not unusual to have hearing aids cost anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000. If your insurance only covers part of it, you can take a loan through AT, through the Assistive Technology Financial Loan Program to borrow what you need in order to make that purchase. Hearing is so important. So as you heard from Diamond, it just contributes so much to the quality of life as we get older. It keeps us connected, keeps us engaged. It's extremely important. So to talk to anybody at the Maryland Technology Assistance Program, you can call their 800 number. That's 800-832-4827. You can reach out to them at their email address, mdtap.general@maryland.gov. And there'll be someone to help you figure out what your needs are. They offer one-on-one assistance with their clinician staff. And the financial loan program also has a representative that can walk you through that process as well. So I think that about concludes everything for today. I think that, there were so many interesting points brought up, and I really appreciate Diamond Hill and what she's doing with Access Hears and as a hearing health navigator. And of course, the Maryland Accessible Telecommunication Program and what we put out there for equipment for people to stay connected. Yeah, if there's any other questions, please. I don't know if we have any time left or not, Mike, but I'll turn it back over to you. So thank you all so much.
Thank you very much. If we have any questions for Jane, anybody? Going once, going twice. All right, thank you all very, very much, and appreciate your patience as we went through this today. I think it's incredibly valuable information. As I said, hearing loss touches someone in virtually every family. So it's terrible to see the frustration people go through, the isolation that they have. I've seen many older folks who just are basically sitting in the corner and not talking to anybody. And the reason is because they don't have good hearing equipment and they don't have good access Thank you, Diamond, very much for being here today. We appreciate that. And Diamond's got her contact information in the chat, so take a look at that. But it is a tragedy in so many ways that people who need these kinds of services very often don't get them. I think in a sense, the reason insurance companies get away with not providing the full cost of hearing aids is because frankly, it's sort of a devaluing of people who are older. Like who cares whether they can hear or not? I'm sorry for being that blunt about it, but I think that's what it's all about. It's in our country, it's, oh, well, you know, grandpa's getting old. He just doesn't hear very good anymore. I guess that's just the way life is. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way at all. And we need to advocate for stronger services and stronger programs for folks as they get older with hearing impairments. That's our program for today, folks. I want to thank everyone. I want to ask you, though, to don't forget, we are part of the Maryland Charities Campaign. We're also, you can donate to us. We very much appreciate it. It's what makes Centers for Independent Living work. And let me see if there are any announcements from any community organizations or individuals about activities that you know are coming up that you want to make sure we know about.
I have one.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brittany.
Oh, okay. I'm Brittany. I'm with Accessible Resources for Independence. We service the Anne Arundel and Howard counties of Maryland. Next Wednesday, April 7th at 1 o'clock, we will be hosting a webinar on substance abuse and how it affects the disability community. So I have the information and I'll go ahead and put that in the link.
Thank you very much, Brittany. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Deborah Bennett. I'm with the National Alliance of Mental Illness, NAMI, Prince George's County, and I want to let you know that we're about to host our first virtual free family-to-family class. It is for individuals whose family members have a mental health condition. So it can be the family member, it can be the support team, a friend.
Yeah.
It is a 4-week course. It is going to be twice a week, from 4 to 6:30 p.m. It is a phenomenal class. I've taken it myself. I've taught it myself. And so because it's virtual, you don't necessarily have to live in Prince George's County to attend. And so I'm encouraging everyone to consider taking it. I've sent the flyer to Sarah, and I was trying to actually put a PDF in the chat, but I actually put information about the support groups.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for announcing that. That's very, very helpful. Anyone else with an announcement before we go today?
Hi, everyone. This is Charita. I do have a quick announcement. This is Charita with Maryland Relay. And I just wanted to share that we were on Be More Healthy, the outreach team. So we were on TV. I feel like a celebrity in my head, so to speak. But we, I will put the link in the description, but it's an awesome platform. It has so much information about just every resource that you could possibly. It's a bunch of videos, but we are definitely in there. And it was last weekend, I think, that it was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'm going to put the link in there.
And the Image Center's in there as well with our program, with our project. So,
yay!
So you're in good company.
Awesome. So I put the whole, the entire video library. So watch out for look for the Image Center and look for Maryland Relay as well.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for all the work you guys do. You're phenomenal. All right. Anything else? Any other announcements, ladies and gentlemen, before we go?
Mike, this is Jane again.
Yes, Jane.
Just also wanted to mention that Hearing Loss Association of America is a great resource for people who are concerned about their hearing or someone else's. They're on the web. We are also so lucky to have a chapter in the Baltimore area. You know, we're down right now because of COVID, but hopefully soon we'll be up and meeting again. So keep an eye out for us as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I think I heard one other person with an announcement.
Yes, hello. My name is Artis Weston. I'm with Towson University. And I just wanted to let everyone know that we will be offering free Better Hearing, Better Engagement virtual sessions beginning this week, just as a way to add resources for individuals online, and you can access anywhere you live in the state because we'll be virtual. I also want to just also what a couple of other people have said about the Hearing Loss Association of America. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful resource.
Now, how do people find out about this presentation, this coming up this week?
I will put a link in the chat.
All right.
I put the flyer, and now there's a link that you can register. The flyer is also in the chat as well.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
My daughter's been accepted to Towson, so I got to be really nice to you guys.
That means she's top caliber.
That's it. There you go. That's exactly it. Yes. All right. Any other announcements before we go today? Again, I want to thank all my fellow SIL directors. I want to thank Sarah and Dave, I think, was out there, and other folks are there. I want to thank all the staff who participated from the SILs, and Heather doesn't get enough credit for the phenomenal work that she does keeping all this put together. We are going to be off next week. April 5th is the holiday, somewhat loosely linked with some other holiday, but anyway, we will not have a program next week. We'll be back to you on April 12th. I believe it is April 12th. And in the meantime, enjoy the spring, get outside a little bit, folks. It's amazing what can happen on these. There's actually been a couple of warm days. So thank you all so much for attending, and take care. Have a good week.